Hello students, welcome back to the lecture series by Biogenesis. In this lecture series of plant physiology, we will be continuing with the chapter of auxins. Previously, we had discussed about auxin biosynthesis, and now we will be discussing about the auxin transport. You can get one definite question in CSIR as well as some other examinations from the auxin transport because there are certain unique features about auxin transport. This transport topic will be split into two parts or two lectures where I will be giving a brief idea in part 1 and there will be mechanism of the transport as a part 2 lecture uploaded after this one. Now, as far as auxin transport is concerned, this thing should be clear that IAA or indole 3-acetic acid is the most abundant auxin in natural plant system. Therefore, whatever statements I will be dealing with now, they are all by default related to IAA. Whether I mention it or not, it is all the IAA transport we are going to talk about. Now, auxin transport or IAA transport is mainly polar in nature. What do we mean by the word polar? Polar in plant physiology terms indicates unidirectional. Unidirectional, what is the direction then? That should be clear to us. From SAM to RAM. SAM is shoot apical meristem, RAM is root apical meristem. Now, IA ka major production site, one of the most important site where IA is produced in an embryonic plant system or the plant life throughout the later development is the SAM. SAM is one of the biggest production center. I am not saying that other plant part do not synthesize IAA, but SAM is one of the major production center where maximum auxins or IA can be produced. Now, polar auxin transport has been found in higher plants, that is the angiosperm, and has also been reported from lower plant kingdom like bryophytes and pteridophytes. So it is evenly distributed in the entire plant kingdom. Now, it is a very comparatively slower transport. What do we mean by this particular point? The rate of this transport when calculated experimentally, it is not a very high rate. It is a very slow rate where per hour the movement of auxin is taking place at the rate of 3 millimeter at max. So 3 to 4 millimeter is travelled by IAA in 1 hour, which is not a faster rate. I hope you understand. Coming on to the concept of the transport. How do we basically understand this transport? I have shown a embryonic seedling or an embryonic system where I have depicted that SAM and RAM are two centers which are the embryonic center called as shoot apical meristem and root apical meristem. Now, SAM is one of the major sites for IAA production. So with red dots, you can see that IAA has been shown accumulated inside it. Now, I hope everybody understands that SAM is nothing but shoot apex, right? Shoot apical meristem, the shoot apex, and RAM is nothing but it's the root apex. I hope everybody is clear with that. So SAM is the shoot apex and RAM is the root apex. Everybody should understand. Now, this ground surface or the soil where the plant stem finishes and below soil the root initiates, that particular base of the plant is a common base. Above the soil surface, it is the shoot base because shoot apex is here and this will be shoot base, and just below the soil surface it will be what? The root base. I hope that makes sense. By shoot apex hai, the ground where the stem finishes is your shoot base, and below, just below the ground, root base is there because this is root apex. Now, in common botanical term or class 11th plant morphology, you should remember two common words. One was basipetal and the other word was acropetal. Basipetal means towards base, any movement towards base, basipetal. Acropetal, movement towards apex, that is acropetal. So basipetal mein basi means towards base and acro means towards apex. So can you see that when auxin moves from SAM and it moves towards this particular point, can this be called as the basipetal transport? Yes, because it is towards shoot base. Auxin are traveling from shoot apex towards the shoot base. They are traveling towards shoot base, and therefore this movement is what? Basipetal oxygen movement or basipetal oxygen transport. Now below the ground, if we see the scenario, it is moving from root base to root apex, therefore it will become acropetal transport or acropetal oxygen transport. So we have clearly seen that oxygen direction is quite fixed. Once it is produced in the SAM, it is moving towards the RAM, and it is a unidirectional transport. The part above the ground, that is a type of basipetal transport because it is towards the shoot base, and below the ground it is an acropetal transport because it is the towards root apex. Now I have clearly mentioned that the basipetal transport makes use of which type of cells? It is based on xylem parenchyma, meaning oxygen is moving from one cell, then it comes into another, enters into another, then effluxes. This movement which is basipetal, xylem parenchyma का help लिया गया है, and this movement which is below ground, it is based on which type of cells? Phloem parenchyma cells. This can be a definite question. So this is a unidirectional transport. Now sometimes in examination or common interviews, somebody can ask you that why the plant roots are always formed at the base of a plant. The answer for this comes from the polar oxygen transport. Do you agree with this point that when polar transport will be done or polar transport will be maximally done, SAM or RAM may there will be a creation of gradient such that SAM will now be having lesser oxygen and RAM will be having more oxygen. I will repeat once again, it is after transport. SAM was having higher value, higher oxygen, but it got transported towards RAM. So after transport will be done, there will be more oxygen on the RAM side and less oxygen on this particular SAM side. This is called as oxygen gradient. That means polar oxygen transport is responsible for generation of what? The oxygen gradient. And when transport is done, the part of the embryo or the embryonic seedling where more oxygen is collected, from their root initiation will happen. That means how did the plant decide that roots will be formed at the base always? They decided because after transport, where more oxygen will be collected, they have an indication that wherever more oxygen will be there, by default that will be RAM, and from there they will initiate root. For example, even if you reverse this particular gradient, with the help of a syringe, you give more oxygen to the SAM and comparatively less to the RAM. Even after transport, you injected more into the SAM. Then root will initiate on the top of the plant, but such plants will never survive in the laboratory condition. They can never naturally survive because roots cannot be towards the top and stem cannot be inside the soil, right? So this is one basis which should be clear to you, that what is the main action that polar transport brings about. Now, coming on to one of the very unique properties of this polar oxygen transport, that a polar oxygen transport always happens in a cell-to-cell fashion, which we call as apoplast transport. I will give you a brief introduction to the word apoplast, then the entire mechanism will come in the part 2 of the transport lecture. Now what I am indicating as the next point over here, that polar oxygen transport occurs in a cell-to-cell fashion. So we are now writing a very important point, that this particular transport, so polar transport occurs in a cell-to-cell fashion, and this particular thing is also called as the apoplast route. Now what do we mean by this particular apoplast route? That means when I will be making the model mechanism at a later stage, let's say these are internal cells like this. I hope everybody understands. One cell, adjacent cell, and so on, right? What I am trying to indicate over here, that everybody is clear that we have an outermost boundary in case of plant system called as the cell wall. This inner layer is called as the plasma membrane. This space which is between cell wall and this particular plasma membrane is known as the apoplast space. Apoplast space. What I am trying to indicate over here is that when oxygens are going to travel, right, when oxygen move from one cell to another, now these cells can be either of xylem parenchyma if it is above ground, or phloem parenchyma if it is below ground. So when oxygens are traveling, they will be traveling in this particular fashion, right? That means they will be crossing the apoplast space definitely. We will be understanding the detailed mechanism in part 2 lecture. This is just a brief introduction. I do not assume that all things should be clear over here. But what I am telling you, one cell co-exit, oxygen comes out from one cell, it enters into what space? Apoplast space, and then it traverses the plasma membrane of another and enters into the adjacent cell. That means it is moving from one cell to another in an apoplast pathway or an apoplast route. Now, one very important point that you should be clear with over here. Now, this particular polar transport, this has been called as energy dependent and gravity independent. So, this particular polar transport, remember a very important point, this polar transport is energy dependent. That means it's an active process. Energy dependent, that means active process, and it is gravity independent. What do you mean by gravity independent? Do not think that it is moving from SAM to RAM because of the influence of gravity. It is moving from a production site to a lesser production site. There is no influence of gravity. You can even change the sites, SAM lower and RAM upwards. Against gravity, oxygen will move if SAM had the higher oxygen. They can also move against gravity. There is no impact of gravity on that. So what we are saying, it's energy dependent and it is gravity independent, can be a very important question. Now, to finish off this part 1 lecture, I am left with one point which most of the books have a very confusion language and confusion information given in the textbooks. That is that sometimes in the examination, students have asked me that, sir, is this particular transport, you told us it is polar, but some textbooks have mentioned that it can be non-polar also. Now, non-polar transport, it can be present in case of the IEA transport, but there was only one research article published somewhere in 1974, December 1974, and I will discuss that experiment with you. So it is not a generalized case. It is a rare case that oxygen transport can happen non-polar method, non-polar transport, and that is always exclusively phloem based, no xylem involved in it, and I will prove that research article, which is only one single evidence, and based on that you cannot generalize. So it's a rare transport system which you can understand. But believe me, that second transport which is based on phloem and it is transport which is non-polar, it is much more faster compared to this transport. Rate of this polar transport was 3 mm/h, but the rate of non-polar, that study which or that paper which reported 16 to 20 cm/h compared to 3 mm/h in this case. So now I will be talking about a very important phenomena over here which can be asked in the examination also. But remember that primarily it is polar in nature. So now the next thing that I am going to talk about is that oxygen transport can also be non-polar in nature. So it can also be non-polar in nature. Whenever it is going to be non-polar in nature, it is always phloem based in nature. It is always phloem based in nature. Now, the study which I am citing over here, it was a study by Goldsmith et al. It was a paper somewhere published in 1974. Even if you search on Google, this is the only one evidence that we have. Goldsmith et al. 1974 का study था, and they were working on a plant system called as Coleus species. So they were working on a plant system called as the Coleus species, C-O-L-E-U-S. Coleus species, it is a member which belongs to the family Lamiaceae family. Right, now, let's come to their experiment. What was their major experiment? We have to understand now. So they took a particular plant system. So what I am indicating over here is we have these SAM system. We have a few lateral buds over here like this. So I'm just briefly describing you that experiment which was performed on the Collier species for the first time. Now, in this particular experiment of the Collier species, what I need to indicate that oxygen transport non-polar prove करने के लिए what they were doing, they had injected in a particular mature leaf, right? Let's say mature leaf यहाँ पर है. This is a particular leaf which is a mature leaf. They injected radio labeled. They injected what? Radio labeled IAA. So they injected radio labeled IAA using the glass needle or baby based on a syringe, right? And after few hours of the experiment, what they could find that this particular IAA could move into the buds which were present above the level of the leaf. This IAA could also go down into the roots, right? So this radioactivity can be detected everywhere, right? I hope you understand this particular thing. What we are seeing over here, so radioactivity detected. So radioactivity detected above leaf and below leaf. Above leaf and below leaf. Now can you tell me the significance of that? Radioactivity meaning IAA was radio labeled. इसका मतलब IAA could be transported from this leaf above it, below it, to roots, to other parts which were below it. That means it is bidirectional transport. Unidirectional होता तो polar transport. Since it is bidirectional, moving in all directions, therefore it is what? Non-polar in nature. So what I am concluding over here is this particular transport was found to be a bidirectional transport for the first time, right? Bidirectional transport. And this particular bidirectional transport is always going to be phloem based. There was no possibility that ever xylem was involved. I hope you understand. Mature leaf से खाना बनकर the photosynthate is distributed from one leaf to other plant parts via phloem. Xylem तो water minerals के लिए होता है. But assume this thing that when mature leaf was injected with oxygen, it was distributed to all plant parts from that particular leaf. What it indicate? Even in natural system, when leaves are mature leaf prepares food. Food के साथ साथ hormone का synthesis भी है. That oxygens got distributed to above parts, below parts, and that is always based on the phloem. And therefore, this is bidirectional transport. And since it is bidirectional, this must be called as what? The non-polar transport. I hope everybody agrees to that. I repeat one statement about this bidirectional transport, that it is passive in nature as compared to the polar transport which was active and required ATP, which I will clear in the mechanism. So passive in nature है and it is much faster. And faster वो भी कितने extent तक? 16 to 20 centimeter per hour. I hope that makes sense to everyone. It is a much faster transport, does not require energy, and it is rarer also. Source to sink relationships भी बोल सकते हैं इसको, source to sink transport. And therefore in some books it is also written like this. There is one word written for this thing, long distance transportation. Yeah, long distance source to sink transport. Source to sink oxygen transport. Oxygen transport. So if you see one statement कि long distance source to sink transport or long distance oxygen transport, it is polar or non-polar? It is non-polar in nature. Short distance transport जो आपने पढ़ा cell to cell, one cell next cell, this is a short transport, that was polar in nature. Now in the upcoming lecture, when we will be moving forward, I will be discussing about the concept or mechanism of polar transport, because in nature we have clearly said that oxygen transport is polar in nature, non-polar is just a rare form. So the upcoming lecture, which will be the part 2 of oxygen transport, we will be understanding the mechanism of polar oxygen transport, and there is one model called as chemiosmotic model. This term is quite familiar with and similar to respiratory models also, but chemiosmotic model will be coming in the next lecture. Thank you and have a good day.